Happy Friday to everyone. The yogis call it the day of Venus, the day of the heart. So we'll explore the heart space and the mind space, Chidakash, the mind space, and Anahat, the heart space. So the Atma, the spiritual being, we project our our consciousness into different parts of us. Different parts. Most of the time we're in the chitta, in the head, because we have 2 eyes, 2 ears, 2 nostrils, the mouth here. So we spend a lot of time in the head. From time to time, we also spend time in the heart space, Hridayakash. So we will explore Chidakash and Hridayakash today. Let's come into your nice, comfortable seated posture. And again, if at any time, if the foot falls asleep, don't ignore it. Stretch the leg out, shake it out, cross it back. And you want to be comfortable. So get as comfortable as possible. Bring your palms onto the knees, touch the tip of the thumbs to the tip of the index fingers. Close the eyes softly. Going into the journey of the mind and the heart space. Before we can connect to those, the yogis teach, let's still the physical body. Body in Sanskrit is kaya, stiram, stillness. Kaya, stiram, stillness of the body. Take your awareness to the right foot from the toes to the heel. The right foot is still. To the left foot is solid. To the entire right leg from the toes, passing the calf, the knee, the thigh to the right hip girdle. The entire right leg is immovable. To the entire left leg, toes to the hip, the entire left leg is stable. Take your awareness to the pelvic floor, the glutes, the lower back, the front of the pelvis. The entire pelvic floor is grounded. To the entire back, from the glutes to the shoulders, the entire back is still. Take your awareness to the right hand, fingertips to the wrist. Right hand is rigid. To the left hand is solid. To the entire right arm, fingertips passing the wrist, the forearm, the elbow, the upper arm to the right shoulder blade. The entire right arm is immovable. Take your awareness to the entire left arm. The entire left arm is solid. Take your awareness to the neck. The neck is motionless. To the head is completely still. Take your awareness to the whole body and imagine the whole body is like a statue, immovable. And as the whole body moves into stillness more and more as time progresses, let's work on stilling the mind, quiet the mind. Become aware of the breath at the entrance of the nostrils. Try not to control the breath, just witness it moving in and out. This breath is our backdrop to life. It connects us, the micro universe, with the macro universe outside. Move the focus of your mind to the breath in the rib cage. Try not to alter the movement of the rib cage, just witness it. As you inhale and exhale, the abdomen naturally makes a small movement up and out. As we exhale, the rib cage moves in and down. Stay in the present moment with the breath in the rib cage now. Move the focus of your mind to the breath in the abdomen. Try not to alter the movement of the abdomen. As we inhale and exhale, the abdomen naturally makes a small movement out and in. And again, it's natural. Thoughts from the past or the future want to enter the mind. That's natural. If a thought comes in, recognize they're there. Don't fight the thought. And then bring it back to your breath. Let's try and keep the mind quieter and quieter with the breath in the abdomen now. Bring the focus back to the breath at the entrance of the nostrils. This time, sensitize the mind a little bit more. See if you can identify the 4 parts of the breath. There's an inhalation, followed by a split-second retention inside, followed by an exhalation, followed by a split-second retention outside, followed by an inhalation again. Keep witnessing the loop of the breath, the 4 parts of the breath now. And now, instead of passively witnessing the 4 parts of the breath, let's actively equalize the 4 parts of the breath. Move with me, my pace. Inhale slowly, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold the breath in, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale slowly, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold the breath out, 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold the breath in. Continue at this rate for the next couple minutes. If counts of 4 is too strenuous for your lungs, decrease it to counts of 3. Counts of 4 is too easy for your lungs, increase it to counts of 5. No strain, your pace. Excellent. Now leave the breath alone after the next exhalation. Bring your focus into the center of the eyebrows, the Chittakash, the mind space. We're going to focus the mind. The yogis recognize a mind that is focused, a mind that is concentrated is a relaxed mind. When we have too many thoughts coming in and out, we create tension in the mind. Quieten the mind, focusing the thoughts. We're going to count the Dharan technique of counting backwards from 100 to 0. We're going to count back in 3s. If you lose count, start all over again. So you'll go from 100 to 97, 94, 91 onwards. So if you lose count, start all over again. Try and reach 0 without losing count. Starting now, 100 mentally. Continue your pace all the way down to 0. Very good. Stop at the number where you're at. And just witness the mind space this time. Just gaze in the center. Try not to think of anything. If random thoughts come up from the past or the future, witness detachedly. Maybe the mind just remain completely quiet. Gaze into the darkness of the Chitta. You may see shapes, colors, sounds might manifest. Just be alert. You're just witnessing your mind. Keep the breath silent. Now this time, bring your awareness to the chest region, exploring the heart space, Hridayakash. The yogis recognize as we inhale, we create a little tension in the muscle in the heart. As we exhale, we relax the muscles in the heart. Let's bring more and more relaxation in the organism. We'll breathe in a ratio of 1 to 2. Move with me, my pace. Inhale slowly on 1, on 2, on 3, on 4. Exhale slower on 1, on 2, on 3, on 4, on 5, on 6, 7, on 8. Inhale on 1, on 2, on 3, on 4. Exhale slower on 1, on 2, on 3, on 4, on 5, on 6, on 7, on 8. Inhale, continue this ratio. If 4-8 is too strenuous for your lungs, decrease it to 3-6. 4-8 is too easy for your lungs, increase it to 5-10. No strain whatsoever. Stay in your comfort zone, but breathe in a ratio of 1 to 2 now. After you complete the next exhalation, bring your breath back to normal breathing. But keep your awareness in the chest region, that space behind the breastbone and the backbone, the space between the diaphragm and the clavicle. Become aware of that space. And as you inhale, you feel that space expanding. And as you exhale, that space contracts. Stay with the Hridayakash, the heart space now. In the center of the heart space, I want you to imagine a beautiful flame, a bright flame. The spiritual being whom we are, that being that's hearing my voice right now, is in that heart space. And from there, you spread your consciousness over the whole body. Right next to you is Paramatma, or Lord in the heart. Bring your deity. Yogis refer to the deity in the heart as the Ishta Devata. From whichever spiritual culture you are brought up with, hold your deity in the heart space. The Lord in the heart is always with us on this journey of our incarnation, on this life, in this evolution. Our closest friend. You recognize the Lord in the heart is giving us unconditional love continuously, in the form of providing us with the sun, the moon, the earth where we get all our food from, the air, all forms of unconditional love for us so we can survive on this atmosphere. I want you to remember a time in this life when you express that love that you get from the Lord in the heart, and you express it towards another living entity in the form of an act of compassion. Remember a time when you did an act of compassion, maybe to a plant or an animal or a fellow human being, a selfless act. Remember a time when another living entity did a compassionate action towards us. Remember a time when you were the recipient of another living entity's compassion. Now, This time I want you to imagine your spiritual being, your spiritual self is expanding in size, and you're as big as the house, bigger than the house, maybe a whole foot. You're so huge. You're looking at your physical body sitting down in your meditative space from way up above. The yogis recognize as a spiritual being, the Atma. And right next to you, as you expand, you can see Paramatma, your deity. The Lord in the heart is still next to you. We exist in a different dimension now. The yogis understand our physical body may be 5'5", 5'7", but the Atma is much more. It's a spiritual being, so it can be bigger than the physical. And as you have this consciousness of being bigger than the physical body, you recognize you were up in this dimension before you took birth, before you incarnated. And as you spend time out here, you recognize your closest friend, the Lord in the heart, is with you as well. Recognizing you're superior than the elements, earth, water, fire, air, ether, superior to the organs, the bones, the tissues, the systems. And in this spiritual dimension where you're at looking down, you can just feel unconditional love from the Lord in the heart. Recognize you are a divine, lovable being. You are a divine person who can give love constantly. And from this high spiritual plane where you're looking at your physical body, you recognize your body, when the elements, earth, water, fire, air, when they were in a baby form, when you just born, see your body as a baby form. See your elements mutate. You're crawling, then you started to walk, and then you age into a teenager, the body change, the elements change. And then see your body from this high plane looking down, it becomes a young adult. It mutates and you become a full adult. You're just looking at the metamorphosis of the elements and recognize that, wow, you were here before the elements. You are in that body for a while, and it's only for a while, and then those elements will dwindle, earth, water, fire, merge back to the elements in the universe, connect back to this high spiritual plane. You're grateful for those elements. You chose those elements. You chose the parents. You chose the time to come in. Let's bring our awareness back. Come down slowly. See yourself getting smaller and smaller. And now you're back into the heart space. And see if you can now find your heartbeat. We've been sitting still for a while. The breath is slowed down. You'll be able to find the pulse easier in the chest region. And every pulse you have, you imagine the powerful emotion of love, this unconditional love that's within you, is being pumped from your heart to all the extremities, the cells of the fingers, the toes, the skull. You love your organism. This high frequency of emotion of love raises the prana, heals the body. Self-love. Yogis teach we must first learn to love ourselves, the highest spiritual self. Then we can learn to love our body. Then we can learn to love other living entities, just as how God loves us. For the next couple minutes, just sit in silence, feeling the heartbeat, and recognizing in that heart space, you're just sitting with divinity, sitting in the presence of God right now. As a child of God, you recognize you are an amazing being of love. Now bring your awareness back into the center of the eyebrows, the mind space, and contemplate a way you would love to share this love to the planet, to other living entities. Contemplate a way you love to do an act of compassion in the next week or so. When you find a way you'd love to express this love through compassion, mentally formulate a short positive phrase for it. You always call it a sankalpa. Mentally repeat it 3 times. An example is, I perform a compassionate act to the plants and trees in my neighborhood, and see yourself assisting them or animals or a fellow human being. As we are able to practice with each other from around the planet at this moment, the circumstances that brought us to this, let's redirect our love in the form of gratitude to all those compassionate beings who are on the front line, all the nurses and doctors, all the engineers working to assist us. If you have a nurse family member, a doctor family member, or a friend, or even if you don't, just bring those beings in the mind and redirect your love to them in the form of gratitude. Very good. Now let's externalize the consciousness. Become aware of your breath once again at the entrance of the nostrils. This breath was with us throughout our whole practice just now. Recognizing this breath has been with us throughout our whole life. Each breath is an expression of God's unconditional love to us. Cherish the breath. Take a deep inhalation. Exhale slowly. Move the fingers slowly. Bring your left palm to the heart space. On the chest, right palm above it. Feel the heartbeat. Recognize where that heartbeat is, where you reside, that loving, divine, spiritual being. I want to connect to this space more and more. So when we externalize the consciousness and deal with the world outside, we deal with it from this higher place, not from the emotions or the mind, but from the heart space, out of a place of compassion and love. Lower the head towards the Lord and the heart. Namaste. Lift the head, open the eyes. Hari Om Tat Sat. Thank you all so much for another beautiful practice on a Friday, the heart space. Hope you have a beautiful evening if you're in America, if you're in Australia, Hong Kong, Singapore, Philippines, Indonesia. Have a beautiful Saturday. Look forward to seeing you all again, same time tomorrow for Prana Nidra. Sleep-led, energizing relaxation. Hari Om Tat Sat. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Mahalo, Visela.
Thank you, Yogi Charu.
Thank you, Antonette.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mahalo, Shifumi.
Thank you.
Thanks, Helen. Thank you, Maggie.
Karen from New Jersey.
Thank you, Karen.
Thank you.
Thank you, Arit.
Thank you.
Mahalo, Greg. Mahalo, Mai. Thanks, Leon. Thank you, Vanessa.
Thanks, Yogi Charu.
Thank you, Subin.
Thank you, Yogi Charu.
Thank you, Nan. Thank you, Astrid.
Thank you, Yogi Charu.
Thank you, Christine. Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you, Jude.
Thank you.
Thank you, Constantino.
Thank you, Yogi Charu. Haribol.
I will. Hari Om Tat Sat. Thank you, Susan.
Thank you, Yogi Charu.
Hari Om.
Hari Om Tat Sat.